Alright, hello Heritage. Hello. Okay, so I should start off by saying that I am an artist. I work professionally. I've worked around the city for a couple years now. With being an artist, it's kind of funny because you're always trying to hone your skills, you're always trying to go out and draw and try to keep your skills very relevant. So I thought I would share this story where I actually went into a bar and I like to go and sketch people while I, grab a drink or something. So this one time I went to a bar near Coquitlam and I go to the bar and I'm sitting down and I got my sketchbook in my lap. I'm drawing, right, and just kind of keeping my head down, kind of like looking up. I try to be really inconspicuous so no one really realizes that I'm drawing. And out of the corner of my eye, I see like 8 giant built like bodybuilders come in, like just fucking muscle, all wearing affliction shirts and tight pants. They come in and there's this little runty like leader guy in front of them. He's this squirmy little guy. He's like 5'2", and these other guys are like 6'8", like 200 pounds, just ripped the muscle. Anyway, I'm sitting there drawing, and I see a little weasel guy, and I kind of turn my head, and I make eye contact with him, and I can see him coming towards me, like going straight towards me, and I'm like, oh fuck, I know he's going to start shit with me. And what does he do? So I turn back to draw, and I was like, alright, I'm just going to ignore this guy. And out of the corner, I can hear just like, hey, art faggot, what are you drawing? Are you drawing dicks? Is that what you like? Is you gay? Do you like sucking cock? Is that what you like to do? And I just turned to him, and he's like right in my face. And I look at him, and I look at the door, and I'm like, okay, can I get out of here without his bodybuilder like buddies crushing me? Because I'm a tall, thin guy, but I can't fight 8 guys on my own. So I freeze, and the next thing I know is all 8 of his buddies come near me, and I'm like, oh shit, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna die here. I'm gonna get murdered. And one of them looks over at my sketchbook. He's like, did you draw that? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, that's fucking awesome, bro. Give me a high five. And I'm like, thanks, man. And I give him a high five, and all his buddies are like, this guy's amazing, check it out. And then one of them yells out, and he's like, this guy's a fucking artist, he's awesome, we're gonna make tattoos, you're my fucking buddy, you have a beer. And he's like, awesome, right? And I'm like, oh, great. And then the little runty leader guy's like, that's what I was trying to tell you guys, this guy's amazing, right? And in the back of my mind, I'm like, fuck you, you little dick prick, like, you just couldn't be any more of a douche. Anyway, have a great time at the bar, going home. As I'm driving, what do I see but an Escalade that's been pulled over, and all 8 of these bodybuilder guys put up with their hands being searched, and I see a little weasel leader guy cuffed in the back with a little like baggie of white stuff being pulled out from one of the guys. He got busted for coke. So I was like, ha, karma's a bitch, payback. Anyway, so with being an artist, obviously I've had to go to art school and train and learn all that other stuff. I had to do figure drawing, which is where you draw nude people, and I've done this for a year. Now the thing with art school is a lot of these guys are nerds, so clearly that's the most nakedest you're ever going to see anyone in your life, probably a long time. So we had guys and girl models, young, old, black, white, we had it all. One of the models that we had was actually 2 of them. It was a guy and a girl, and they're both young, attractive, good looking. I was like, all right, this is going to get interesting. They get on stage, they start modeling, we start sketching. Then they do this one pose where they kind of lean into each other, and the guy is checking out the girl. He's ogling all her goods, and he's like, all right. And you can clearly see, boing, he gets a hard on. And the girl notices, and she's looking right at his crotch, so she starts to kind of giggle. And then he notices, and he's like, oh shit, in his mind, because you can see him go beet red. And he's just like, oh fuck. And you can just imagine that his hard-on just got killed. Like, it's just going to rocket through his body and never get on again for a long time. Anyway, it was pretty cute, but, it's not too bad. Another guy that we had was this guy that looked like he had stepped out of a G.I. Joe comic. He actually looked like Tom Selleck in Blue Blood, but a lot more built and ripped. He has the short hair, the mustache. He gets up, he does his posing, I'm super ripped, But I guess at some point he was ogling the girls in the class, and he got kind of a hard on, because the next thing we know, the girl starts screaming, and you can see him get a little bit wet down there. Not really good. A little bit gross, not gonna lie. So your art instructor is like, oh, here's a towel, let's have a break real quick, it's okay. And he's wiping it off, super embarrassed, but I don't know how that really happens. Anyway, so with art school, obviously there's a lot of technology that's been involved and stuff like that. And I began to realize how much I know about computers because my parents know very little about computers. They usually call me up and ask me for advice. And this happened the other day, actually, where literally, my parents don't know nothing about computers. Like, they don't even know not to open emails from people they don't know. Like, they're not supposed to download attachments. So they get an attachment from someone like, random stranger dude at whatever unknownmail.com, and they're like, that's our friend, we should open it. And I'm like, no, you shouldn't, he's not your friend, do not open that. The next thing I know, they call me and they have a porn virus that I have never seen the likes of before in my entire life. Like hardcore porn on the desktop, on the screensaver. The icons turn to dildos. There's a guy that comes out of the screen that yells, give me your daughter. Stuff like that is like really, really bad. So I'm like, I don't even know what to do in this case. And, families get a little bit awkward because they secretly suspect each other for the other person putting this service on the computer. And, we've never really talked about sex in the household. I mean, like the closest thing we got to was a talk with my dad when I was like dating my girlfriend at the time. And he's like, looked at me really cryptically and he's like, you're playing with fire. And I'm like, I've got a hose, Dad, it's okay. Because I just had to feel the awkwardness with something. And that's the only thing I can think of at the time. But, yeah, so, we never really discussed our porn preferences, and obviously this was going on. So we called some friends, got it figured out, and it was funny because once they had figured out and cleaned out the computer, they had basically turned the screen to face the wall and put it in the corner like it gave itself a little timeout. And I don't think they quite knew how computers worked. I don't think they walked into Best Buy and thought that this was in the realm of possibility for them. So it's a little bit strange. Anyway, so I'm going to keep it pretty short. I know we're running, low on time, so I'm going to invite the next person up. And hope you guys have a good evening. Thank you.
Yeah.